People are often quick to criticize government for the many scandals and political corruption, but imagine a world where government doesn't exist. Imagine if there are no restrictions on power, no limitations on one's authority. Imagine if you could do whatever you want and have there be no repercussions. What would that look like? As I was describing that scene, you may have thought of the word anarchy, which comes from the Greek word anarchia, or at least that's what I thought of. Anarchia comes from the two words an and archos, which in Greek, when you combine those, mean without a ruler. But most people, when they hear the word anarchy, think of disorder and chaos, or maybe something like this.
God, this is crazy.
So go crazy. Let her rip.
Hey, I don't know about this.
I don't either, but who gives a shit? No one's watching. What do you care?
Wait, what? This is crazy. You want me to hit you?
That's right.
You may be wondering how Chuck Palahniuk's Fight Club relates to anarchy, but I think this scene is a pretty good demonstration of what people think of when they hear the word. Let's keep watching.
What, like in the face?
Surprise me.
This is so fucking stupid.
That looked like it really hurt. Have you ever wanted to join a fight club? I thought about it a few times. Now, in that parking lot scene, the narrator willingly hits Tyler, and Tyler willingly wanted him to do so. Now, why would they have a fight in an abandoned parking lot? Well, for one, it was abandoned. There was hardly anyone watching, and therefore it was very unlikely that they were going to get in trouble for fighting in the streets. This is what Hobbes would refer to as a state of nature, as the only thing that is stopping anyone from doing anything is their own willpower. They have the ability to do whatever they want according to their own human nature. Let's contrast with this other scene from Batman.
But when that light hits the sky, it's not just a call. It's a warning. To them. Fear is a tool.
Now that we've seen two movie clips from movies that, interestingly enough, both explore corporate greed, we can compare and contrast these two films in regards to anarchy and the state of nature. In both films, there is an abandoned parking lot, it's dark, it's stormy, there is perfect opportunity to commit crime. However, in the Batman clip, the criminals are scared to commit crime because they know that Batman is watching them. There is a higher power that could punish them if they were to act on their innate desires, and therefore they do not commit any crime. I'd like to now introduce a new term, the social contract. Imagine you're at your elementary school lunch table, and you are about to make the trade of a lifetime. That's right, you are about to trade your mom's homemade raspberry jam cookies for a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Does that sound like a fair trade to you? It may or may not, depending on your preferences. Or let's say you're older now, in middle school, and your mom tells you that you have to go clean the bathroom while your brother gets to vacuum the entire house. These are sacrifices, these are trade-offs. A lot of times though, the trade-off is not always fair, because the rights and liberties of those most affected are not even on the scale. Now, imagine playing this game of political chess, but your opponent not only owns the board, but also all the pieces. But it doesn't matter if you win or lose, because there's a fire-breathing dragon right behind you, and the person you're playing against has sworn to protect you. This is what Hobbes theorized in his work, The Leviathan. Hobbes thought that people would relinquish their ability to act on their human nature including some of their rights and liberties, if the government swore to protect them and acted as a powerful force of sovereignty. This is the classical theory of the social contract. Now, let's apply it to a case study, the United States. The United States Republic was founded on Locke's idea of liberalism, that being that every human being has the right to life, liberty, and property. But when the Founding Fathers were writing our Constitution, they were working under a different social contract, one that didn't consider everyone to have those rights. So for those who were in power, namely white, heterosexual, rich men, life was easy. But for the great majority, there were institutional barriers that were hard to break down. In other words, those who were in power thought less of those who were under power. And so a racist social contract was formed, leading to institutional racism. So how do we fix it? Well, a political theorist, Charles Mills, believes we first need to recognize that there is racial liberalism present in the US, and by proxy, domination contracts. Mills defines domination contracts as social contracts wherein one group is very clearly dominating another through taking away their rights or liberties. One of the first things we can do is recognize the domination contracts present in our society, mainly those present in the institutions we take part in, for example, academia or healthcare. Once we identify the location of the contract, we can then identify our role in the contract. Are we propagating the domination contract, or are we a bystander, or are we a victim? Assessing our role in these contracts is akin to what Michael Olmi and Howard Winnett believed in their contemporary works of critical race theory. Olmi and Winnett believed that in today's day, in today's political society, people are detached from the idea of racism, that they know it exists at an institutional level, but they are aware of it only on a superficial basis. They don't have any personal stake in the matter. And so by asking these questions that utilize second-person language of what is your role in the contract, how does this relate to you, that you'll feel more personally connected to the matter and therefore are more inclined to make change happen. Another political theorist, Danielle Hossain, argues that we must not only be change makers, but we also have to acknowledge what our end goal is. We cannot be striving towards an idealistic world or colorblind society in which race doesn't exist, because that's simply not possible. Race is ingrained into our society, it's ingrained in our history, and it's not something that we should strive to get rid of or avoid, but rather we should take on a realist or pragmatic approach wherein we see where change is possible and then we strive to make that change one step at a time, aiming towards a society where people have equal opportunities, equal access to participate in our republic. Now, at the beginning of this video, I played clips from the movies Fight Club and Batman, and I want to sort of circle back to those clips. Of course, anarchy is not the answer. In almost every case, we still want to retain our republic, we still want to retain our government, because society most often does function better when there is a government that is striving towards justice in place. However, we of course want our government to protect everyone, not just a few individuals. And I think that, especially in a republic, we have the ability to take part in governments, not only through political participation, but also how we interact with each other in our daily lives. Something I find really interesting is the word compassion, and it comes from the Latin word compassio. And when you break that down, it translates to cum, meaning with, and pati, meaning to suffer. So when the word was originally developed, it meant to literally suffer alongside someone. And I think that the meaning has sort of got lost in translation over the years. Not to say that the current meaning is bad, But I think it's something to think about of when applying to these situations. Who are you willing to suffer for? You know, what are you willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to sacrifice your time, your energy, your money to alleviate someone else's suffering? I think a lot of the problems we have regarding institutional racism, we can make change, but we do have to suffer a bit for those changes to occur, whether that be adding a new position within an industry, or sacrificing some of our own time and energy to really understanding the afflictions of the people that we know in our lives. So I'll end with that, and thank you for watching this video.